74,000 years ago, the sky went dark, not for a night, for 6 years. A supervolcano erupted on the other side of the planet. The ash cloud wrapped the entire Earth. Temperatures dropped 20 degrees. Forests died, food chains collapsed, glaciers advanced, and humanity, our entire species, was almost completely erased. Scientists studying ancient human DNA found something that stopped them cold. Every human alive today traces back to a single population that at its lowest point may have been as small as 1,280 people. That is fewer people than fill a high school gymnasium. Somewhere in that terrified group, starving, the sky black above them, was a woman. You will never know her name. Nobody will, but she is your ancestor. Without her surviving those 6 years of darkness, you do not exist. Not you. Not anyone you love. Not a single human who will ever live. This is not where the human story begins. But it is the moment it almost ended, before it meant anything. To understand how we got here, we have to go back much, much further. Most people think they know this story. Evolution, Darwin, monkeys. Something about a fish crawling out of water 4 billion years ago. Here is what that version leaves out. We are not here because nature chose us. We were slower than our predators, weaker than our rivals. Our closest relatives had larger brains. For 6 million years, nature kept testing replacements for us. Better equipped species, stronger bodies, more durable designs, and one by one, those replacements failed. Not because we defeated them, because we had something they didn't. Something so strange, so uniquely human, that it is almost impossible to describe without it sounding like magic. We will get there. But first, the beginning. To get to humans, you have to start with a death. 4.6 billion years ago, a massive star ran out of fuel and exploded. The shockwave sent gas and dust spiraling outward. A portion of that debris began circling a new, smaller star. That star was the sun. That debris became the planets. One of those planets, the third one out, 93 million miles from the flame, became Earth. For its first billion years, Earth was not a home for anything. Constant asteroid impacts, no oxygen, no land, no sky as we know it. Then, roughly 3.8 billion years ago, something happened in the ocean. A molecule formed that could copy itself. That is all it was. One self-replicating molecule in a warm chemical sea. But that molecule, copying itself, making small errors in each copy, those errors accumulating over billions of iterations, produced every living thing this planet has ever known. Every blade of grass, every whale, every dinosaur, every human being. All of us, the descendants of one accidental molecule in an ancient ocean. The humbling part is not how far we've come. The humbling part is what we came from. For the next 3 billion years, life was patient. Single cells, then cells working together. Then eyes, then mouths, then spines, then fish, then creatures crawling onto land. Then, roughly 230 million years ago, the dinosaurs arrived. They ruled this planet for 165 million years. To give you a sense of that number, modern humans have existed for 300,000 years. Dinosaurs had 550 times longer than us. They were not a chapter in Earth's story. They were most of the story. Then 66 million years ago, a rock 6 miles wide hit what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact released energy equivalent to 1 billion nuclear bombs. The sky went dark. The food chain collapsed. In geological terms, the dinosaurs were gone almost instantly. But something small survived, warm-blooded, furry, small enough to hide underground, nocturnal, probably eating insects. So insignificant that 165 million years of dinosaurs never bothered to finish them off. Those survivors were the ancestors of all mammals, including us. The rock that killed the dinosaurs was not a disaster for every living thing. For the small, forgettable creatures hiding underground, it was an inheritance. About 7 million years ago on the African continent, the climate shifted, forests shrank, grasslands spread. A group of primates that had lived in trees faced a reality the forest had always handled for them. The trees were disappearing. Some stayed with the forests. Those became the ancestors of today's chimpanzees and bonobos. Others moved into the open grasslands. Those began walking upright. Those became us, but not yet. Not for a very long time. Over the next 6 million years, multiple species of early humans walked the earth simultaneously. Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus. One after another, different experiments in the direction of human. Some used simple stone tools, some controlled fire, some buried their dead, but they shared the earth with many other hominid species, and the competition was real. Because we were not alone, and we were not winning. Here's what almost nobody knows. For most of our species' time on Earth, we were not the dominant hominid. Neanderthals were power. They had lived in Europe and Western Asia for 400,000 years. They had larger brains than us. They were stronger, more cold-adapted, more experienced hunters. They made tools. They wore jewelry. They used pigment on their skin. They buried their dead, sometimes with flowers. By every visible measurement, they should have outlasted us. They didn't. And for decades, scientists assumed we simply killed them. The newer evidence suggests something stranger. The difference between us and Neanderthals was not strength, not brain size, not adaptability. It was what we could imagine. A Neanderthal could cooperate with the people they personally knew. We could cooperate with complete strangers if those strangers shared our story. We could believe in things that did not physically exist. A tribe, a nation, a god, a law, a shared future. We could organize 5,000 people around an idea that lived only inside human minds. No other animal can do this. A Neanderthal group of 50 was powerful. A network of 5,000 humans connected by shared belief was something Neanderthals had never encountered. That asymmetry is everything. Every army, every religion, every corporation, every country that has ever existed, all of it is an expression of this one ability, the ability to believe in a story. Neanderthals had bigger brains. We had better stories, and the better stories won. And then the volcano nearly erased us anyway. 74,000 years ago, the Toba eruption in what is now Indonesia. To give you a reference point, Yellowstone in Wyoming sits above one of the most dangerous supervolcanoes in North America. Scientists monitor it carefully. Toba was 3 times more powerful than Yellowstone's largest known eruption. The ash from Toba covered the Indian subcontinent in up to 15 feet of debris. The years of darkness that followed destroyed vegetation across Africa and Asia. The human population, already spread thin across the continent, collapsed. And those 1,280 survivors found themselves in small groups along the southern coast of Africa. They had fire. They had shellfish from the shoreline when inland food disappeared, and they had the stories. The same ability that had let us outcompete Neanderthals was now the only thing holding those terrified groups together across 6 years of cold and dark. They did not know if the sun was coming back, but they kept the fire going because something in the human brain, even under conditions of total uncertainty, reaches for tomorrow. Roughly 50,000 years ago, something changed. Cave paintings appeared, sophisticated, intentional, beautiful. Instruments carved from bird bone, personal jewelry, figurines sculpted from mammoth ivory, the elaborate burial of the dead. For millions of years before this, human existence had been functional: survive, eat, reproduce, move. Then, in what amounts to an eye blink in geological time, humanity started making things that served no immediate survival purpose. They painted horses on cave walls deep inside mountains where no sunlight ever reached. They carved faces into small stones and kept them. They made music. They were no longer just surviving. They were expressing. Scientists call this the creative explosion. The point at which the modern human mind appears to have switched on completely, not a new brain, not new anatomy, the same brain running at its full capacity for the first time. And from that switched on mind, art, religion, language, agriculture, science, civilization. Everything that follows in the human story begins here, in a cave, in the dark, with pigment and bone, and the need to make something that meant something. Honesty requires a pause here. Science does not have a complete answer for how humans came to exist. The Toba bottleneck is real, the genetic evidence is solid. But the exact number of survivors is still debated. Some researchers place it significantly higher than 1,280. The creative explosion is real. But what triggered it? A genetic mutation, a critical threshold in social complexity, the full development of language is still genuinely contested. And the Neanderthal question, why exactly they vanished while we continued, remains one of science's most honestly unresolved debates. Some evidence suggests we interbred with them. Most non-African humans today carry 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. The relationship was not simple. What is not debated? The self-replicating molecule. The asteroid, the branching of primates. What is not debated, we almost weren't here. And what is not debated, we are. Go back to those survivors, 74,000 years ago. Southern coast of Africa, the sky has been dark for months, maybe over a year. A small group, maybe 30 people, maybe fewer, sits around a fire near the shore. They have been cold for so long that some of them may not remember what warm felt like. The children among them have never seen a sky without ash in it. One woman tends the fire. She does not know she is the most important human who will ever live. She does not know that the species is balanced on the edge of extinction. She knows the fire is low. She adds wood. She knows the children are cold. She pulls them closer. She knows that tomorrow is uncertain. She stays anyway. That woman, unnamed, unremembered, her face lost to time is the reason you exist. Not Darwin, not evolution as an abstract force, not any god or theory. Her specific, daily, ordinary decision to tend the fire and stay alive. And from her, an unbroken chain through every ice age, every famine, every war, every disease. Down through your grandparents, down through their grandparents, an unbroken human chain across 74,000 years of surviving a planet that did not make surviving easy. You're not the result of a billion lucky accidents happening to nobody in particular. You're the result of a billion lucky accidents happening to specific people who all chose, somehow in their darkest moments, to keep the fire going. That is where you came from. And that is what you carry forward. Hit that like and subscribe button for more such videos.